So today we're going to be doing something a little bit different where we're focusing on the interaction and how to capitalize on the interaction for Flak with the projectiles, with the new Anoints and some of the old. So I'm sure you've seen some of these videos popping around with the projectile recursion being used. I've even used it inside one of the videos, and we're going to highlight today with some new information that I found and some information that was brought to me by a nice individual that plays Flak as well. So let's hop right into it. So my boy Ricochet was one of the individuals that brought up some new information about the projectiles to me, saying that it not only works on the recursion, but it works on some other guns, which we'll hop into in a little bit. And he's the individual that's inside of the Borderlands Discord, along with Fire, Spy, and Melting, that work on putting together super dope stuff for Flak. And I don't really jump around too many different YouTube channels or too many different Discords, because I kind of want to keep the ideas fresh, at least from my perspective. So I'm not stepping on anybody's toes, but he's one of the individuals, and that group of people inside the Discord are doing a lot of work on Flak. And I wanted to go ahead and share this with you guys because they have some pretty good times. This is a channel about helping everybody get the right information, and anything that I can do to help people get the right information on anything really is what I'm all about. So now that my little TED talk is finished, I can talk to you guys about this whole interaction with the projectiles. Basically what it comes down to is having the additional elemental damage on the action skill in for your weapons, for your grenades, for your shield, is going to allow certain guns to get extra projectiles. So what was told to me was that the recursion is able to get the extra projectiles, which we probably all seen before, seen it in action, kind of piece some things together. And then I was also told that some of the calls are able to do it. And then I went ahead and tested out a whole bunch of guns so that we can kind of pinpoint which ones do it, and some of them don't, oddly enough. The first thing that I went over to was the Jacobs, but the King's Call is one of the ones that we'll go ahead and show you real quick. So you see that we have 100% action skill in right here. So this is not going to give us another projectile, but the corrosive damage right here is elemental, is going to give us another projectile. And so we'll go into fadeaway, shoot once, see that we get the 3. Another dope thing that was told to me was on the final shot, we get the action skill in applied, which means that we'll be able to get that, or get those additional projectiles. So I'll go off into photo mode now, and we can see that instead of the 3 that we're typically supposed to get, we got 6. So that is something very, very powerful. And you can see that the corrosive damage is coming through. And we're still getting the 6 is a little bit less blatant because we are not in fadeaway right now. But for the duration of those 10 seconds, or for the duration of like the magazine size or whatnot, with the shock in it or whatever element that you do have attached to the different weapon, you'll be able to get those additional projectiles and do a lot of work. So this is kind of like a low-key buff to the different calls. It still doesn't make the Lucian's call super good. The Brainstormer still works out much better than it. The Carrier is another one that has a similar situation to it. So let's see. Alright, we're neutral right now. Going to fadeaway. So I shot 2 bullets right there. And on our last bullet, so instead of us just getting the 1 to ricochet, we got 3. Well, we have 3. And so, pretty nasty. And it's also doing the shock damage as well as the corrosive. So I'm not 100% sure if it just multiplies the amount of projectiles that originally spawned. I have to play around with it a little bit more. That seemed like it was kind of the case for the King's Call. I don't know if this is like a universal thing, but I'll play around with it a bit more and get like specifics on that. But the interaction is dope. Interaction is dope. That boosts up the Carrier to a spot where it's actually pretty decent, pretty good for single target damage. Makes the recursion an absolute monster. And it makes the King Call or Queen's Call pretty decent for killing some of the different bosses. It is something that wasn't really highlighted. It's just really just a low-key buff. And so that's one thing you can do. Now, different ways that we can take advantage of this are, of course, do fadeaway, where inside of that last shot in those 10 seconds, we're able to get those extra projectiles. And so one of the methods is using additional charge of Rakk attack. This is something that I just saw from Moxie the other day. Don't know if he was one of the first people, but just saw it from his good old channel. And so what you do is you switch over to the gun, and then you switch back, and we have a Fire King's Call. And you see that we're getting the additional damage as well as those additional projectiles. And you just simply make the switch and switch back, and you're good to go. There's a certain pocket for it, definitely. But if you would like to use this, I don't know what you want to call it, mechanic glitch exploit, you can end up using that. Whatever Rakk attack thing does work out relatively well, and then you can use something else with additional element on it if you really do want to, and get the same benefit. So to switch to the thing again, shoot. And you see that we're still getting the other one. Doesn't look like we're getting that double corrosive radiation. So it's yellow, so it's kind of hard to see. It is popping up right there. I'm pretty sure it's popping up because we get the extra projectiles. But either way, that's one way that you can finesse it, and you're able to get those 100% anointment uptimes. So another way is if you could just use fade away normally. It's not 100% of the time, but you're able to get it up. Pretty decent little pockets of time. And then with your crits coming back with head count and whatnot, you'll be able to get your cooldown back. So you can just spam that if you don't want to cheese. And then the other way is the fake burst. And let's see. It's basically aiming into an area where the gamma burst won't actually spawn. So not that area. Alright, so you just use it in an area where the gamma burst won't actually spawn. Typically when you're outside, you'll see like a gigantic area that you can just press it in. Right here we do it in like this little corner because there's not like a place for the gamma burst to land. And inside a fake burst, and you'll be able to get your 100% action skill end. And you keep up your 100% action skill right there by doing something like that. So it's kind of like fake grasping. Is basically exactly like fake grasping. This fake burst. It is something that I'm pretty sure people know about this already. I put up a video for it like a while ago. It popped up as a little trick. And it's definitely not anything super duper new, but for some of the new people to Flak, that might help out a little bit. But yeah, that's basically some of the different guns they can use to get the extra projectiles. The one pump chump actually does get the extra projectiles as well. And the one pump chump is currently not in my inventory for me to show you. But yeah, that gets it. The carrier gives it. Lucian's call gets it, which you'll be able to see. So it's not really supposed to be shooting that many times. We're not supposed to be ricocheting that many times. So yeah, the different calls get it. The stagecoach shotgun seems like it gets the effect as well. Not all Jacobs actually do get it from what I was playing around with. But you can see what the effect is. I don't know if the Unforgiven gets it actually. Know how hard this is to tell with so this is something that you want to use fade away for, just to see. But that is basically it. One of the interactions that you guys can abuse if you want to. Since they're not really going to end up fixing the game too soon, I think we might end up doing it big and using one of these interactions inside of a setup and going for like a super speed run or something. And you can see here that Unforgiven actually does not get the additional projectiles. It gets the damage, but it doesn't get the extra projectiles. But yeah, just play around with it. See if you guys enjoy it. You can run that inside of Gamma Burst if you really do want to and get action skill in to go crazy. You can use either the Rakk attack method or the fake bursting and just do work. So we have options. With the recursion right now, we should be able to do a lot of work utilizing this 100% anointment uptime. It didn't work for Moze and Amara when I did try it out, and I kind of assumed that the Rakk attack charge wasn't going to work for Zane, since it was the case for the other two, but I have not tested that out. That's it for your boy. Hey, if you guys have any questions about anything, go ahead and let me know below. If you guys think this is like a bug, exploit, or just a mechanic at this point, since this game is interesting, hey, go ahead and let me know below. I'll be in there as always. Hey, peace out, amigos.